Hi everyone, this is Reverend Terry. Welcome back to Kids Corner. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. Today, we are going to hear about the prophets of the Bible. And to do this, we are going to need to go back to the desert. So let's all take a deep breath because we need to get ready to learn about the prophets. This is the desert. The desert is a dangerous place. There's no food or water there, and people can die in the desert. When the wind blows, the shape of the desert changes, and we can lose our way. The desert is a dangerous place, and people don't go there unless they have to. This is Jerusalem. Around Jerusalem is the wall. This was the city of David, the city of the people of God. Here is Haran. Here is Babylon. Here are the rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Sometimes the people of God forget who they are. They hide from God and pretend that God isn't there. There are also people who come so close to God, and God comes so close to them, that they know what God wants them to do and say. These people are called prophets. They know the best way. Men and women and children, anyone can be prophets. You might be one too. King Solomon was one of those who forgot who he was. And so God tore his kingdom in two. The prophet Ahijah showed that God knew this was the best way. Ahijah took off his new cloak and cut it into 12 pieces. 10 pieces were for the tribes that were around the city of Samaria, the capital of the northern kingdom, and 2 pieces were for the tribes around Jerusalem, the capital of the southern kingdom. After King Solomon died, Ahijah's prophecy came true, and God sent prophets to both kingdoms. Some of the words of the prophets, like Elijah and Elisha, have disappeared or were never written down, but some were written down, the words that God told them to say. Here are some of the scrolls. This is very interesting. This one has the writing of the 12 minor prophets on it. They're sometimes called the minor prophets because they did not leave as many words as the others. This one is called Isaiah, but it really has the writing of 3 Isaiahs on it. This one is all of the words of Jeremiah. And the next one has all of the words of Ezekiel. Now, let's see what happened. We remember that there is the southern kingdom where Jerusalem is. The prophet Amos, one of the 12 minor prophets, was from the southern kingdom, but God sent him to speak to the rulers of the northern kingdom. Let's read something that is on the scroll that Amos said. I despise your feasts, and I take no delight in your solemn assemblies. Take away from me the noise of your songs, but let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Amos spoke for God to the priests and to the king. This is what all prophets did. Now here are the names of all the prophets on that scroll. Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. Some God sent to the northern kingdom, and some to the southern kingdom. I will put the scroll of the 12 between the 2 kingdoms to remind you. One day, the northern kingdom was conquered by Assyria. The Assyrians surrounded Jerusalem and the southern kingdom. The people were afraid, but the Assyrians went away. The first prophet, named Isaiah, who lived in Jerusalem, said that the kingdom would fall, but that a remnant, a few of the people, would be saved. But it was not the Assyrians, it was the Babylonians who took the city, and they took many people away into exile. The second Isaiah must have been one of those who was taken. The second Isaiah wrote his words in Babylon. He said there would be a highway made straight in the desert, and they would go home one day. Second Isaiah was very hopeful. The prophet Jeremiah stayed in Jerusalem. He said the city would fall, but that the people of Jerusalem would not understand what he was talking about. In the time Jeremiah left, he and Baruch, his scribe, went to Egypt with some others to be safe. He was very sad. Ezekiel wrote in Babylon too. He was taken away with one of the first groups, even before Jerusalem was torn down. He was a prophet in his new home. He told the people in exile that Jerusalem would be destroyed, and they would not go home soon. After Jerusalem was destroyed, he had visions of hope that they would go home again. They would be like dry bones in a valley that put themselves back together, turned into people, and walked to their old home in Jerusalem. The third Isaiah was one of the people who went back to Jerusalem. The people were there and not really glad to see him and the others who returned. The city was still broken down. Many of the walls were still black from the fires that the Babylonians had set. This Isaiah helped the people and the priests get ready for a time when they would not have their own king. These are most of the prophets in the Old Testament. We know a lot about them because their words were written down a long time ago. Today, there are still prophets. They speak to the rulers, the priests, the rabbis and ministers, and to the people. They still say and do what God wants them to do. They help all of us know the best way to live. Prophets come from all kinds of places and are all kinds of people, just like you. So some of you in this circle may be or may become a prophet. Now, I wonder, what did you like the best about the prophets? I wonder what's most important about the prophets. I wonder if you know any prophets, or if any prophets know you. I wonder if the prophets in the Bible are all the prophets we need. Friends, thank you for joining me again this week for Kids Corner. I'm so glad we could be here together, even though we're apart. Remember to have an adult in your home help you to click the link in the description to take you to the song for today. And remember, if you do any artwork about the prophets, please invite someone in your home to take a picture of it and send it to me so that I can post it for our entire church family to see on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.